Hello, hello, hello! How are you guys doing? Today I'm showing you guys how I make one of my favorite soaps, Ullahula. It is inspired by my cat, Ulla. She is turning 6 years old now in April, so this is a soap that I bring out in April just to celebrate. And as you can see, the clear inspiration is her pink nose. This is her. This is the amazing Ulla. She is my little bestie. So yeah, let's get started. So obviously the first thing in soap making, you have to prep everything because it's a matter of having everything ready and going when you're making it. So the first thing I always prep is my TD. If I have to use my colors, I have this little jug that I always mix my TD in, but it's good to just shake it up and keep it there. And then I am going to add some sodium lactate to my lye solution. As you can see, I do get some lye lint because I do use a water discount, but I use a stainless steel strainer for that, and the sodium lactate just helps the soap just harden a little bit more. So I always love adding that. It's just basically salt, and I keep that all in a plastic container that can hold my lye solution. Advanced, I have made some embeds for her nose, for Ulla's nose. It's basically some long canes of soap. I make these a day or two in advance, and then I like to wrap them in plastic wrap just to keep them a little bit soft so they're easier to work with. But as you can see now, I'm just making sure that all the ends are nice and straight, that they match together nicely, and I'm just trimming off the excess. And in soap making, the cool thing is that absolutely nothing goes to waste. This little end right here that I'm cutting off, I'm actually saving that for soap dough. You can see I'm gonna go right at it, smash it. I roll it up in a ball, and in that same plastic wrap, I wrap it and keep it for later. It does not go to waste at all. Always keep your little soap bits. It's the best thing. So these are Ulla's ears. As you can see, they start out as a little heart. What I do is I just trim off the ends and make it a little bit triangular. And this batch is actually divided in two, in the white part and in the black part. I'm going to start with the white part because it's the bottom. I'm using a non-discoloring fragrance oil. It's a black raspberry vanilla for the white part because I want to keep it white. And I have already added some titanium dioxide into my lye solution. It just avoids an extra step, so it's just easier to throw that into the lye solution, mix it up, and there you go. It's easy peasy. I like this fragrance oil because first of all, it doesn't discolor like I mentioned, but also it slows down trace. So when you're doing something like shapes or things like that, it's good to use a slow moving fragrance. I'm setting aside a little bit of white, like I said, soap dough. So whenever I make white soap, I always make a little extra so I can keep it aside for soap dough. So that's 2 in 1 go. I'm just adding my fragrance oil here and mixing it a little bit. As you can see, I am at a very thin trace right now. I don't like getting my soap batter too thick. I'd rather wait a little bit more and have it come to trace on its own than have to rush and make things super fast and I'm just giving it one last blitz, making sure that that fragrance is really well incorporated in there. It's a beautiful consistency and it's so perfectly white. Oh, I love it when a soap batter does that. You can see my notes on the side. Soap making is chemistry, guys. It's all about math. Every time you have to make small adjustments here and there. So I always have a notebook right next to me where I keep all those notes. As you can see, I am going to start with a very thin layer of the white just to make sure that those pink nose embeds have kind of something to kind of float on. Not too much. I just want to give it a little bit of a cushion. So I'm just aligning them here, as you can see. It just helps keep the nose straight because I don't want it to tip over. So that having that little bit of white kind of helps balance it out a little bit more. So yeah, so this is a multi-step process. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a little bit of the white on top of the nose embeds. Just because my trace is a little bit too thin, I need to wait a little bit for this to thicken up. I don't want to accelerate it with the stick blender, so I just let it go on its own. But after waiting a few minutes, my batter has already thickened up quite nicely. I would say this is like a thin to medium trace, but as you can see, I'm just piling it up right in the middle, trying to make like a little mountain. So, you know, Ulla has a very peculiar shape with her nose with the white, but what I want to do is make it a little bit more abstract and easy to, I don't know, to represent in soap. So I'm just going to mound that white batter right down the center and then just help it a little bit. You know, it's at a nice consistency now, or you can see it holds its shape. So with the spatula, I'm just going to give it a little help there. Alright, so now I'm going to start on the black part. So this part is actually colored with activated charcoal and a little bit of mica. The thing is, if you add too much activated charcoal, it's going to change the texture of your soap. So I balance it out with a little bit of black mica just to get a really nice true black, because Ulla is a little tuxy and we need to give her a pure white and black and you know. So these are just my oils. I just want to mix these colors in before I add my lye, just to make sure that everything is nice and properly distributed. So I'm just going to take my stick blender and give it a little blitz. And now I'm going to add my lye solution. For this part of the soap, I also want to keep it at a thin trace, but the fragrance oil that I'm using in this part does discolor. So I just had a little bit left over of the non-discoloring one. I had some of this one. So I thought, you know, this is a good time to have a fragrance oil and that discolors and use it to its advantage. And if it discolors to dark brown, why not color this part black, and you won't have that issue with discoloration. And it also behaves very beautifully. This one is from Brambleberry. And so now I'm just very carefully pouring my black soap batter over the white. So the cool thing about dividing your soap batters is that I can wait all I want for that white part to get thick or harden up a little bit. And then when I'm ready, I can just go in and do my black part, and when I'm pouring, it won't disrupt. So I textured the top a little bit. I'm sorry I don't have that footage. I don't know what happened. I thought I was filming. But I have just textured the top and given it a little bit of a kind of like a mound in the center. And now I'm just putting in her little ear embeds. And as you can see, I have marked my mold every inch, so it's easier to place my embeds. And once I'm done, I spritz everything with 91% rubbing alcohol to prevent any soda ash. And here you go. This is the loaf. And of course, soap cutting videos. You guys love my soap cutting videos. This one's a little sped up because I wanted you to see the whole thing. But look how adorable! Oh my gosh, every time I make this soap, I freak the heck out because I just love how it's Ulla's face. It's her little face there in a bar of soap, and you guys love it so much. This was so popular last year. I sold out in under an hour of this soap, so of course I had to bring it back. I love making Ullahula soap. She's so special to me, We adopted her in the New York City ASPCA a couple years back. She was already a year and a half old when we adopted her, and she's just been the best. She's the most caring, kooky little friend. She's so funny. So yes, adopt, don't shop. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can catch your Ullahula soap April 2nd at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Lilasuds.com. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys. Bye.